In the cosmos of the jewelry world, subjects are as numerous and diverse as the galaxies that gravitate together in the jewelry planetary system that GemGenève has built. GemGenève, which has become a cultural event, offers to their exhibitors and visitors a wide range of topics around jewelry and provide their knowledge and current issue. So I've brought them all together in one universe. The 7th season of a jewellery-themed podcast, Il était une fois le bijou. For this show, I invite you to explore a new nebula, the trendy gems, that is to say, Tsavorite and Paraïba. For that, I have several speakers with me. I have Théodore Roset, director of Bellerophon Gem Lab Bangkok.
Hi Anne, nice to meet you.
I have Daniel Assaf, the founder of Tsavorite Factory.
Hi Anne.
I have Victor Ferreira Mendes de Lima, the founder of Brazil Gem Commerce.
Hi Anne, it's a pleasure to be here.
Of course, we are going to talk about two stones, the Tsavorite and the Paraïba. But for now, we are going to talk about the Tsavorite. What are the characteristics for this gemstone?
So first of all, Tsavorite are isotropic, so it means that they are cubic. Therefore, they do not display pleochroism, which is a very good trait for gemstone. They will be easier to cut, I believe. Also, Tsavorite is very, very attractive with a nice green, many clean stone, like way less inclusion than emeralds. Yeah.
Daniel, in your shop, what are the different varieties of Tsavorite that you see and sell?
Tsavorite is a trade name for grossular garnet, and by definition, it's green. Grossular comes in several different colors, like pale, yellowish, orangey. But when they're green, it's considered a Tsavorite garnet. And that can range from pale yellowish green to very dark yellowish green, and from very pale bluish green to very dark bluish green.
Now, Theodore, what are the characteristics of a Paraïba?
So Paraïba is a tourmaline, first of all, but it's colored by copper and manganese, which give this very nice neon blue electric color. So it's a balance of elements that is very rare to be put together in order to form the gemstone. That's why it's so rare. And we have like black tourmaline, you can find it everywhere. The elements are very common, while copper and manganese is very rare in nature, in the pegmatite where it's formed. Then, Paraïba is anisotropic. So this one display pleochroism, at contrary with Tsavorite. Yeah, that's it.
Victor, in your shop, what are the different varieties of Paraïba that you see and sell?
For me, it's one of the most beautiful stones we have in the market these days. A lot of jewelers and the connoisseurs, they already consider the it stone. It's the stone of the moment. The difference of the Paraïba for the other stones is like the Bellera from France said, is when you put together the copper and the manganese, and usually we use the heating process to achieve the color range that the market like. The stones look like glow from inside. They have some fire. So that electric color like neon blue, turquoise, bluish green is the game changing the market these days.
And what is the best of chromatic possibility? Is it ocean blue?
Yeah, we have the top quality ones is the neon blue. It's the most rare to get. Usually we get more the greenish blue. So we get the neon blue, the sea foam blue, we have the pistache green, and we have the greenish blue ones.
I think I like the pistache one.
It's nice. It's a nice type of Paraïba. But for me, for myself, I love the deep neon blue.
If I choose a pistache Paraïba, with which one of your Tsavorite, can it be a lovely combination?
Yeah, it would be a nice combination. In Tsavorite, you tend to want to go towards the more bluish green than the yellowish green, and that also reflects in the prices of the stones. And another very, very beautiful sub-variety is what's called mint garnet, which I think technically still tests completely as a Tsavorite, but it's a much more pastel color that in that case, you definitely want it to be a bluish green color rather than a yellowish green.
This mean garnet, the content of chromium and vanadium is way lower. So what gives the color to Tsavorite garnet is chromium and vanadium. When the stone is pastel, usually the content are lower, and as the stone deepen, the content increase, basically. These mean garnets sometimes are classified as grossular garnet if they are too pastel for the lab, like us. As soon as they get at a certain stage of saturation, they will therefore be classified as Tsavorite.
Are these two stones, Paraïba and Tsavorite, classified as rare?
Yes, they are. They are very rare.
The Paraíba is absolutely rare.
Super.
Especially these days, because the only mine in Brazil, it's almost exhausted. Mm-hmm. And we have mines in Nigeria and Mozambique. But unfortunately, in Mozambique, we have one critical situation because of the illegal excavators. They go inside all the mines, they put fire in all the machines, and me and my family, we lost our mine there. So now the supply of Paraíba will get even tighter. So it will become even rare.
How many years can we still use and extract this gem?
It's quite difficult to put in years because we don't have the knowledge to say how long the deposits can last. Because we have one mine in Nigeria that is going very good. We have some regular productions. But from the Mozambique mine, I think now we're going to have less production because of the political situation and the chaos that is going on.
And for Tsavorite, are the mine closed or not? Is it considered rare or not?
Definitely, I think that Tsavorite and Paraïba are two of the rarest stones. And all you need to do is walk this beautiful show, GemGenève, which has the most beautiful stones in the world. And you can only find a handful of them if you walk to every booth. So that tells you the rarity. It's more rare, in my opinion, than emerald or sapphire.
Even diamonds.
Ruby, diamonds,
Yep.
definitely.
In high quality, mostly. In high quality is super hard to see. And in the lab, seeing over 10 karat Tsavorite, clean or Paraïba clean, of a nice color, is rare, very rare.
Even the gemmologists get excited. Even the labs are like, wow, this is a special stone.
Sometimes you see very special stones, but it's not every day. I think we see more sapphire than Tsavorite in the carat range for top quality.
What is the real reason of its rarity?
The rarity of the Paraíba, in my opinion, it's because of this unique color. The unique combination of chemical components, when we make the heating process, become like unique color. And also because of the productions. Mine in Brazil, the Brazilian Paraíba, the original one where the name was come from, is almost exhausted, and only one mine is running there, operational. Only one mine in Brazil. Then popped up some discoveries in Mozambique and Nigeria, but also the production is very less. And the most important thing, the demand is always growing. So the supply is less, the demand grow, and then the stones become rare each day more, especially for special pieces like 10 carats, 15 carats, look clean, deep neon color. It's very, very rare.
And therefore the price increase.
And the price increase every day.
Yes. In terms of the mining of Tsavorite, there's no one mine. It's a lot of artisanal mines sprinkled around the south of Kenya and the north of Tanzania. Usually about 15 people. To my knowledge, 3 different ways of mining it. One is just alluvial, where you have a jig and you just pass tons and tons of earth through it and separate out the stones. Another way is blasting at about a 45-degree angle, going down into the ground and trying to follow a vein of Tsavorite. It's not like, say, Tanzanite or I don't know, like Ethiopian opal, where they know that there's huge deposits in a specific place and you can mine it for multiple years. But once you do find the vein, sometimes the production can become regular. But very often in Tsavorite also, even when you do find the vein, the little nodules or pockets that you find are very small, and then you lose the vein, and then it's very hard to find it again. So you're just digging in the dark.
What is the common size of a stone?
For Paraíba, it's difficult to get big sizes. Usually the rough, when it comes like a 2 grams, 3 grams, 5 grams. The biggest piece I ever made until these days was 187 grams. But the price when you search for one rough like that is very high. It's very expensive because it's not usual. So when it comes in terms of production, usually it's 2 to 5 grams, the rough.
The rough.
The rough.
And after cut?
After cut, one example, if the piece, 1 2-gram piece, is a good clarity, then it's possible to make only one single piece from this rough. So usually 1 2-gram piece will give us like 4 carat stone after cut and polish.
In Tsavorite, I feel like the production is still quite steady for sizes of below half a carat. So for melee, to use in rounds, for pavé, it's quite steady supply, and a lot of manufacturers use it because they can rely on it. But once you get into sizes of over 2 carats, matched pairs are difficult, and I think at Tsavorite over 3 carats is considered quite rare. And in general, it's a clean stone. Garnets tend to form clean, of course, to a certain extent. But Tsavorites are still expected to be very clean to be acceptable in the market. So just like in Paraïba, I assume sometimes you have to take a big piece of rough and cut it into multiple smaller sizes because you don't want to have a bunch of inclusions. Unlike emerald, for example, inclusions are not as acceptable.
What is the price?
In Paraíba, we have one big variation of price. We have stones like for $2,000 per carat. And until for Mozambique Paraíbas, of course, we get stones from $2,000 until $50,000, $60,000 per carat, even more, depending on the specimen we have on hands and the rarity and the color, everything we take as consideration to put the price. But this is the variety of the price range, $2,000 per carat to $50,000, $60,000, maybe even a little bit more.
If we don't talk about smaller sizes, in Tsavorite, the price can range from anywhere from, let's say with 1 carat sizes, from 700 a carat. And as far as I know, it maxes out for the top colors at 20 plus thousand per carat.
On the Mohs scale, what is the number for the Tsavorite and Paraïba?
They are the same, 7 to 7.5.
With that number of the Mohs scale, is not that fragile, so we can make rings out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard enough to set in the jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that help so we can make the sales for the jeweler houses.
This increases the value for a daily wear. They won't be afraid to make a collection out of it.
You can make an engagement ring out of it, for example.
Is it a good idea for an eternity band?
Yes.
Yes, of course. And will be very nice if we set in the white gold or platinum. That help the color of the Paraíba shine even more.
And what would be the ideal gold color for the Tsavorite?
I think you can safely set them in both yellow and white.
Not pink?
I don't know, but maybe a little bit less. But white gold and Tsavorite looks great, and yellow gold and Tsavorite is also a good combination.
What if the metal was blue?
I know, for example, that a jeweler is making a whole collection with titanium and Tsavorite melee. And personally, I love the new colors or the colors of the anodized titaniums that, where you can make it blue or violet or pretty much any color.
Must be a nice combination of colors.
What is the refractive index?
The refractive index of Tsavorite is high, between 170 to 175. The Paraïba is way lower, around 160. 160 to 165. The high refractive index of Tsavorite bring a higher luster also, which is common in cubic gems. But the Paraïba luster is amazing also. It's amazing. When the polish is well accomplished, it's great.
Could the 2 stones complement each other in jewelry?
Yeah, I think it's a good option, especially because of depending on the cutting we make in the Paraíba, we can make the stone more shiny and show more luster. So I think it's one good combination to try. It's going to be one nice.
I find that what's interesting about Paraïba particularly is that, like Theodore said, the refractive index of tourmaline is quite a bit lower, which means that they don't sparkle as much. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, Paraïba glows, and it kind of compensates for maybe a slightly lower refractive index.
When Cartier launched the idea of a tutti frutti, they mixed the green of emerald with the blue of sapphire, and thus it's become fashionable. Do you think that today, if you mixed the green of the Tsavorite and the blue of the Paraïba, we could create a new trend, maybe more fashionable than the tutti frutti?
I think it would be beautiful. I think those are two of the most beautiful stones. Would make for very expensive jewelry.
Yeah, I think it will be a nice match, especially because it's uncommon. And on these days, people like the uncommon. It's two stones that catch attention. They glow from inside. They have electric colors. So I think it will be the perfect match for maybe one new collection, one new tendency in the market. I think it will be perfect.
Do you remember what you felt the first time you saw a Tsavorite or a Paraïba?
If I may, when I started the business, I remember coming with my father to the first show, and I might have been 16 or 17 years old. And I walked the entire show, and my father was actually the founder of the company, the Tsavorite factory. And I walked the entire show, and I came back to him and I said, I know what my favorite stone is, and it's Paraïba, which is hilarious. And back then, Paraïba was not a very high value. They were selling for 400 a carat or 300 a carat. But the color for a layperson, someone that didn't understand the gem business, it looks fake. It looks synthetic, really.
For me, the history is almost the same because I follow my father's steps, and I was born and raised in the middle of the Paraíba tourmaline. So I remember when I was 15, 16 years old, I think, my father arrived in the office with one nice heart-shaped Paraíba. And I never saw that stone in my life. I didn't know what was that stone. And the white, even in the dark, have so much light, so much fire inside. And for me, it was love at the first sight. So until now, for me, is the top one stone. And I think it's difficult to have something that can match.
And you fell in love?
For Paraíba, always.
Both stones, I love them. At first glance, it was not my favorite because I guess I haven't seen the best quality right away. But years after years, I've seen a lot of beautiful Paraïba, exceptional Tsavorite. For me, Tsavorite is super nice. It's almost at the same level as emerald. At some point, it surpasses it through the nicer luster and sparkle and higher clarity. And Paraïba, you can't find anywhere near this neon color in any other natural stone. It just doesn't exist. Mostly the one from Brazil, which are unfoundable
the
now.
Special ones, real special ones, the Brazilian ones.
You can't find. And in a year, you see maybe 5-10.
Yeah.
Out of 2000 Mozambique and 2000 Nigeria. And,
What is the most exceptional Tsavorite or Paraïba you had to analyze?
Tsavorite, there is one that comes to my mind. It's a 93 carat, flawless, from Tanzania, Merelani. Flawless, yeah, completely flawless. The top green with a tint of bluish, not yellowish. The name was the Queen of Tsavorite. The customer request a privilege report is a 36-page book that we make. It was out of this world. Actually, the customer made a book out of it and gave it in the fair. Then for Paraïba, we've seen very recently, the stone will be in the Bonham's auction on 22 May. It's called the Cat Florence Lumina. It's a 181 carat flawless Paraïba from Mozambique, which was very, very impressive. The color was not the best. It was a greenish blue, but this size and this clarity is very rare. And my favorite paraiba I've seen was a 91 carat cut by the master cutter Viktor Tuzlukov. I guess you know, he's very famous for all this fancy cut he gave to the Pope. And so we made the report, we made a book as well. It was mounted by Adler and put in auction in Sotheby's. It haven't been sold, but it was an amazing stone. You should check online, it's beautiful.
Daniel, I know you have the most exceptional Tsavorite in your collection and you don't want to sell it.
Yes. It's not the biggest. It's 6.7 carats approximately. But the color is extremely unique. It has a very, very special color. We've had as large as 25 carat stones that are also extremely, extremely beautiful. Most important for me is that it has a beautiful tinge of blue and not be over color. When it's too dark, then there's extinction in the stone, and I want to avoid that at all costs.
And you, Victor, what is your most exceptional paraiba that you can't give up?
Yes, I recently cut one very unique piece, one 37 carats, pear shape, deep neon blue, and completely slope clean. So I just get one reward from the GRS as a unique piece. So from my young age until now, I never saw some piece like that before. And then I didn't display it because this one I will keep a few years before I think to sell, because I'm quite sure it's not impossible, but it's difficult to get a piece like that again.
For you, are Paraïba and Tsavorite precious stone?
Using the term semi-precious stones because it's a tourmaline or a garnet makes no sense whatsoever. It's more precious than many of, within the world of sapphire or emerald, there's all qualities. The finest Tsavorites compete very easily with the finest emeralds.
Yeah, this is a good point, because since this is two rare stones, why use the term semi-precious stones? It's precious for me, not because I love the stone, but even more precious than diamonds, because diamonds we have a lot. The industry is flooded by diamonds. Everywhere you go, you see a lot. In Paraíba, it's not the same. So I think the right term is precious stones, not semi-precious stones. To mine the Paraíba is very tough. It's very, very tough, because you find very less amount compared like with the diamond, that you find a lot of stones when you are in the production line. So Paraíba, it's not as easy as everybody thinks to produce. It's very, very tough.
When did you start to receive demand to analyze those two stones, since they were not very popular a few years ago?
I mean, we are in business for 7 years now. And since we are in business, these two stones have been popular. So we analyzed them since then. But we know that the demand increased a lot, because I'm sure you guys know the price increased a lot for the last 7 years, right?
Yes.
In both cases.
One example, when I buy the rough, I usually 6-7 years ago, the rough that I usually buy for $1,000, $2,000 per gram, I recently bought the same quality for $6,000, $7,000, even $10,000 per gram.
And this is also the case in Tsavorite. And every time you sell a Tsavorite, you're worried about replacing the same quality. And you don't know what price you might have to pay on the market to replace it. So the prices are going up.
A lot of clients, sometimes they complain, why the price is going high like this? Like Daniel said, this is the one problem that we've recently faced. Because if I give one big discount to sell one exclusive piece, or even the commercial stones on Paraíba, I cannot go to the market and buy the rough to replace, because the rough price increase every day. The same happened with the cut stone. So this is one point that we have to think, and we have to educate the customers and the clients, because we are selling high prices, but also we need to buy high prices also to get the same quality.
And the same customers that bought and complained about it 5 years ago at why is the price so high are very happy with their purchase today.
Daniel, will the mine stop producing?
In Tsavorite, like I said, I think there's multiple locations. There's the south of Kenya in Voi, and then Lemshuku and Merelani, the area where the Tanzanites are mined. And the mints are specific to Merelani, and they're a byproduct of Tanzanite mining. You will generally find pockets of mint garnet just before finding a new pocket of Tanzanite. The mining is not centralized. And so many people, many artisanal miners are trying in different locations, digging into the ground, looking for these veins. So unless someone finds a big deposit of Tsavorites, which is unlikely, it's always going to be, the production's always going to be by the drop. A little bit here, a little bit there.
Victor, will the mine stop producing? Will it deplete? What do you forecast?
Actually, as I said before, the future of mines in Mozambique now is quite unsure because we are facing one political chaos in the country, and the artisanal miners are using this as leverage to take over all the mines. This happened with our company and 5 more. So now we are betting all the chances in our Nigerian mine. As I said before, I don't think that we can say that how long we're gonna source the market, but I think the production will be less. For a few years will be less because of this situation in Mozambique, because in Mozambique is the biggest production of paraiba in these days.
So this is also a reason for the increase in price.
Yeah, we're gonna
Another
face
pressure.
this now. The price will increase because the demand always grow, and then we don't have the supply to walk side by side. So the price will increase because the clients will look for the nice quality, even for the lowest quality on Paraíba. The price will rise. We must expect that the price will skyrocket.
I agree. I would also like to mention, I know that with Tsavorite, it's a recently discovered stone. It was only discovered in, I think, 1969 by a British geologist. His name was Campbell Bridges. So this stone is only about 50 some years old. And I think Paraïba is also a relatively new stone on the market. It's not like emerald that's been around for thousands of years, or ruby.
The discovery of the Paraíba dates from the late 80s, when Heitor Dimas Barbosa was making his research on the hills of Paraíba, Brazil. Late on the 2000s, some mines popped up in Nigeria and Mozambique. And my family helped to develop this mine in Nigeria and Mozambique. That's why we have a lot of access to this material.
I'm so happy to learn so many beautiful things about the trendy gems, Paraïba and Tsavorite. So really thank you, Theodore, Daniel, and Victor, for your expertise and your patience. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Anne.
Bye-bye, Anne. Thank you again.
Thank you for listening. I'm Anne Desmarais de Joton, and I give voice to jewelry every Sunday. And if you want to give a voice to your jewelry and brand, I would be delighted to help you create your own dedicated podcast or welcome you as a partner in my native podcast. I will appreciate your support. If you enjoy the podcast, please encourage me with a like, a rating, or comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and please share it on your social media. See you next month on this podcast, and in the meantime on the Le Bijou comme un bisou podcast, alternating with Brilliant podcast. Stay tuned to the next GemGenève univers.